If you've ever had a bad day, have you ever stopped to consider how many people's dreams you might actually be living? I had this thought the other day. I had a really shit day, and today's been a similar one. Like, I go in circles, my mind's restless, it's racing, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, nothing's certain. I feel like I'm building on quicksand. I was walking down the street and I realized, like, I'm in London right now. And this has become normal for me, but there was a time this wasn't even like in my plans. Like, I didn't even consider this as a possible option. Like, I genuinely didn't see it as something that would come to eventually be true in the near future. I very much realized the positions that I have gotten myself into have been the product of the dreams that I had years prior. And that's pretty cool to think about. And I think when I framed it like that, it's like, and whatever discomfort I had in that moment was really a product of the things that I had chosen. This was exactly what it was meant, what I wanted it to be, really. At the end of the day, there are so many people who I think would give so much to be in the position that I'm in. And I know this sounds like that cliche, but it's cliche for a reason, which is like, if you really stop to think and be grateful about the stuff that you already have, you'll realize you might have so much more than you think. And I think especially after you've been working for a little while on your own things, generally, it's really satisfying to think about how far you've come. And I think that can, like, when you reframe things like that, it's like, this was the thing that I dreamt of just a few years ago. And now I'm here. And like, it seems normal because I'm living in it. And every day, you know, new problems come up, but like, it's so cool that I'm here to begin with. I think that's a really worthwhile reflection to try and have. I did this thing when I was like 16 or so, where I started to write down 3 things that I was grateful for every day. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm grateful for food, I'm grateful for shelter. No, it was like 3 very specific moments in the day that you're very grateful for. Like, I really enjoyed, you know, that 5-minute walk that I had after lunch or whatever. Or, you know, I enjoyed going to school today. These are the kinds of things that I would write down. There were very specific moments. They were granular. What happened at the end of each day when I went to make this list was that I would have to think about the day as a whole in order to produce this list, because I couldn't just say food and shelter and the same shit every day. I had to think about a moment that I was specifically grateful for, that I just had enjoyed that day. And I had to pick out 3 of these. I did it at the time because I was like trying to make myself do good habits, and I didn't particularly believe in it, to be fully honest with you. And for the first 3 months, I just kept doing it because I just kind of like committed to doing it or whatever. It wasn't, you know, I didn't see that much change. But about 6 months in, the 3 to 6 month mark, I genuinely cannot articulate to you how much of a profound change that one habit has had on my life. Bear in mind, after 6 or 7 months, I ended up stopping because I lost the habit. I got busy with some travels. And despite that, the shift that I had in the way that I see the world has lasted with me to this day. I'm talking 5 years on now, right? I cannot articulate how profoundly that changed my worldview. And I want to get back into it and stuff. But even if you just do it for 9 months or 12 months, like, it will, I think, substantially shift the way you see the world, because you'll start to see all the little moments. And I had that where it came back to me. And it's a really beautiful thing to be able to appreciate a lot of the world around you. I think it makes life extremely rich. And it's a worthwhile thing to pursue. At least this is my opinion. I think when you hate your life, you end up being a less productive human. You suffer more. Like, I don't really think there's any good incentive to do that. And so I think investing in like actually enjoying what you do is really great, because it lets you go really, really far. Happiness also makes you more self-sufficient, because in other ways, you don't rely on other people for validation to make you feel good. When you know what makes you happy, when you know like that you are internally fulfilled, that makes you a much more self-sufficient kind of human being, which is a really powerful thing to be, in my opinion. This thought was something that was on my mind and I thought was worth sharing. Just like stop and think sometimes about like whatever you're doing. Like, you're probably living what somebody else does not have. There's always somebody who has less, basically. And there's always stuff to be grateful for. And when you work on stuff by yourself as well, for yourself, for a few years, you like, things start to happen. And when you stop and take a look, it's like, no matter what shit you're eating at the moment, it's still pretty cool that like, yeah, sure, I have some problems and I'm stressed and whatever, but at least I'm having those in London. And that's like a cool thing, you know? And even if, hell, maybe I have to go back to Portugal for a while, right? And that's not my ideal situation. But hey, at least it's after having lived in London for a year and then having been in Germany in a castle for however long. And after all these like extra adventures, it's like, you will never take away those experiences. And so like, you can still be grateful for them. And beyond that as well, just in the moments, like, you don't have to be in London to appreciate the trees or the sun or like really simple shit, which at least I found that brings me a lot of happiness, like the simplest things. And so off the back of that, you can become a really kind of self-sufficient person. I hope that's a useful thought. That was on my mind today.